What's up, guys? Hey, look, I've got a pretty exciting episode for you today, and it's mainly being brought on by the questions I've received in my comment section, DMs, emails, so on and so forth, and that's regarding the memorabilia I have in my shop. You know, anything from road signs to oil cans to cars to die-cast cars to books, whatever, and I know this affects probably 90+% of the garage type person, male or female. And, they have their garage or their man cave or their shop, whatever you want to call it. And they get everything in there they kind of want, wall decor, whether it be signage, whether it be photos, whether it be magazines, what have you. And a lot of you have asked what I have in my shop, what I have in my collection, kind of like outside of what you see, what I have it for, and are the investments or so on and so forth. So today, I dug out about 30 of my items here on a table. I'm going to show you those, where I got them, what they mean to me. Do I have them as investments or just keepsakes, whatever? And then maybe we'll touch on some of what I have on the walls, and we'll kind of go from there. So it's just going to be a fun little episode while I'm waiting on parts to answer some of your questions about some of these items. So anyway, this is Busted Radio Garage. Let's get after it. All right, guys, I think what I'm going to go ahead and start with is essentially the wall art portion, which would be anything from like road signs to hubcaps to novelty signs to license plates. Again, another novelty sign, so on and so forth. And as you see in my shop, we have anything from street signs to hubcaps, speed limit signs, novelty signs. And when I say novelty signs, I mean something like this gasoline alley sign or that Mopar no car sign, for example. These are what I call Amazon signs, right? So whether you're into sports or, motorsports or, it could be anything, gardening, hockey, whatever. If you get on Amazon and you look for signage on, knitting socks, there's probably a sign for it. And if somebody's into that niche, they can order that sign and have it for their their sewing room or their gardening room or their shop or living room, whatever. It really doesn't matter. Signage is a multi-million-dollar business. They make signs for everything. Now, mainly for me here in my shop, it's 99% automotive, obviously. We're a garage, right? We work on cars. We have classic cars everywhere. So, most of mine are retired street signs. When they come in and they redo an area or put in a major highway or something of that nature, a lot of these signs here are retired. And they either end up in the hands of like Trader's World or a flea market, or somebody snags them up, whatever, and they come up for sale on Marketplace, what have you. And then people like myself buy these signs. So I have just about everything you can imagine in here. Speed bumps, speed limit, the old burnout sign, railroad, deer crossing, one way. These are the most popular ones, right? Like one way, do not enter, stop signs, and speed limit signs. But my Lord, we have our share of them here. And that Mopar parts and accessories sign, that's a good example of a novelty sign. They print them out and then they fake age them, right? So they got fake rust and they're kind of corroded a little bit to make them look like they're vintage, but they're not. Now, if you flip that over, it's a brand new piece of steel. Versus if I flip that stop sign around, it's obviously all beat up. That dependable Dodge sign, that you see if I can zoom in on it. Right here, these are all novelty signs as well. I guess while we're at it, the next thing we could touch on is those license plates. Excuse me. License plates are huge for people. This is actually my license plate challenge wall, but we're trying to collect a license plate from each state, and in return of the person sending me the sign, I put their name, the YouTube channel, or they can dedicate the plate or whatever underneath that. But if I get duplicates, I just hang them on the walls, right? So we've got license plates hanging everywhere. And then some people collect these simply for the age of the plate, and I drug a few out to show you. So like here is an old sign a subscriber sent me, or an old license plate, and this is from Nevada in 1949. That plate, it's been around a minute, is what I'm saying. But this is very, very cool. I did not actually put this on a car for that reason. I keep it laying over here, and it looks like it's PX693 was the plate number. But then we have some old Kentucky plates from 65, a Ohio plate from 74, and I think this one is an old California plate. Yeah, this is an old California license plate from 1947, and this was actually sent to me by a subscriber as well. But those are very cool. I like stuff like this because of the history. That's mainly why I have it. If I was to keel over, you know, and die tomorrow, you know, this could be stuff that my wife could possibly liquidate with all of our cars and equipment and so on and so forth back here. But I enjoy them for the history. What do they represent? Where did that license plate in California in 1947 come from? Can you imagine the person walking into their DMV, what have you, back then, and getting their plate for maybe their first car, so on and so forth? But anyway, that's the reason I collect a lot of this stuff, is just because it's cool. I think it is, and I keep it in here because I enjoy looking at it. It makes my shop feel like it's my shop, and, you know, it's stuff that I can relate to. But anyway, let's keep going to some of the other stuff. So I guess like stuff like this is pretty cool. Now, obviously, someone like myself isn't going to have a bunch of these old vintage pedal cars laying around because I like dabbling in the real things, right? But it doesn't make this any less cool. And it's missing a lot of its parts. I believe there was a ladder rack here at one time. This is an old fire truck pedal car, but we actually went up to Wisconsin when Derek and Jessica at Vice Grip were moving to Tennessee, and we went up and helped them pack up and get their trucks loaded and get everything sent down. Well, in the downtime, they had a flea market going on around their area. So Kathy, Squirt, and myself just ran over there, and sure in the world, this pedal car was laying there for sale, and it used to have the price tag hanging here. I don't know where it went, but I think it was a couple $100. I don't know. So I snagged up on it because I just thought it was cool. Now, we don't keep a whole lot of toys and stuff like that down here. That's kind of weird to call that a toy, but essentially that's what it was. It was a toy for a kid. And it generally sits up right there on that box, and I drug it down so I could show it to everybody. But we do keep some die-cast cars and stuff down here. Like there's a shelf there full of old Mustangs. And there's another one right back here that's full of old Mustangs. And if you watch my last video, I used to collect these and the real cars. So people would buy me Mustangs and send them here. And when you get cars like this, it's pretty rare to find two of the same one because they're just mass produced, and some are red, some are white, some have flames, some have big engines sticking out of the hood, whatever. But we saved on all of them. Now I've got, I don't know, 20 or 30 here. And there's another set over here on this shelf. Now this window's probably gonna glare you to death. There's probably another 30 or 40 here, and there's anything from smaller cars to medium cars to big massive cars up there. And then we have shelves with thousands of Matchbox cars over there, or Hot Wheels, whatever you want to call them. And then I have some pretty unique ones here. I'm a huge John Force fan, and John Force used to race Mustangs. He was sponsored by Ford. And these are filthy, and I feel shameful having them this way. But when you're a younger man, you just take the box and whatever. But these are full-scale, detailed, funny cars. And we have quite a few of these, but I just pulled these off the shelf to show you. Now, this one's a little bit cheaper made of a car, but this one's actually a Franklin Mint Castrol GTX Superman car, and it's full detailed everything. I mean, absolutely everything. But we keep these up on the shelf, and I drug them down to show you. Now, again, people would send me these things, and I just kept them in the shop because they were a cool story, right? You know, somebody come down and go, hey, where'd you get that? Well, you know, Uncle Jim Bob down in Nevada, you know, sent me this car. He's a fan, wanted to support the channel, whatever, or just thought it was cool and sent it to me, whatever. So that's what we do with a lot of these things. All right, now here is something a lot of people have in their shops, man caves, collections, whatever, are oil cans. Now here's a big old can, and I've got the Valvoline version to it over there. Gas cans, you know, kerosene cans, these old vintage cans. Now these are worth some money. I mean, I think I gave right around $100 for this one, and there's a couple, 3 or 4 more over there. I gave right around that range. And I had a gentleman give this one to me the other day. I still got to clean it up, but I want to do it the correct way so we do not damage the advertising on the can. But this is an old gas can, and it actually has the original cork cap in it, which I think is really, really cool. I'm just assuming that, you know, other than the handle being missing, a lot of it just evaporated out. So yeah, we have a bunch of those cans around, and I enjoy them just because, you know, the colors, the artwork on the cans themselves, especially the era that these were released, because they were beautifully done with artwork. And again, I have some here. Let me go over here. I have some up on this shelf, a couple over here. Here's an old Amoco motor oil can. That's just filthy dirty. The artwork on that's actually pretty nice, but I don't fool with them a whole lot. I buy them and I just set them around just to look at, just to have down here. So that about covers that. And a lot of these niches that people have for these, you know, you have people that are into cans, and you have people that are into signs, and you have people that are into hubcaps and oil cans and toys, whatever. All these niches are $1 million businesses every year. I mean, people make a killing on selling this stuff. Let's see, what else can we get into? Like hubcaps. You know, people like having hubcaps laying around, whether it be one or whether it be, you know, 200 or 300. But we have, you know, these are from old cars that we've had, or they've been in the back seats or whatever. I think these are old Duster caps or Valiant caps, Cordoba caps. You know, there's some old Buick caps back here. Some just dog dish caps. Some more over there. I mean, there's some more there. I have just a boatload of them. There's some Crown Vic caps over there. And I just enjoy having them on the walls. There's no rhyme, reason. They're not worth anything, I don't believe. If they are, it's not very much. But they're cool in my eyes, which I enjoy having them around. I think they're awesome. And I think a lot of people feel the same way, because if you look in a lot of people's garages and shops and places where they hang out, man caves, whatever you want to call them, they have them hanging around. All right, then we have some vintage toys, like this old Chevron gas truck. You know, this is generally up on my office wall when you watch my lives. I have this one and a few more hanging up on or sitting on a shelf up there in my office. I brought it down here just for this video. But like, this is an old Tonka Chevron gas truck. Not sure of its value, really don't care. But somebody gave me this, and for the love of God, I cannot remember who it was. But it was like, what's such a cool gift? I mean, it's freaking awesome. You know, it's priceless to me. I just enjoy having it around. That, and somebody took their time to get this out, cleaned up, and give it to me just to have. I mean, just as appreciation for the channel, or maybe the content or the hard work we put in here. I'm not really for sure, but we enjoy having it. So God forgive me for not remembering your name, but thank you very much. And then we also have some of this old stuff, like these old coffee cups. You know, I got a couple, well, these are all McDonald's. But if you remember back in the 70s and 80s, even before then, I wasn't around in the 60s, so I couldn't tell you. But you'd go into a McDonald's or a Hardee's or whatever, and you would buy one of those cups. And then you could go in every day and get a free cup of coffee just for having that specific cup, which I thought was pretty cool. And somebody gave me those. So I held on to them just because they're cool. Somebody comes down and asks the story about those. I could tell them I can remember when I worked at Hardee's and Wendy's, both as a young man, that, you know, somebody would roll in with one of those cups right there, and he's generally an older man, to be honest, and he'd walk in and slap it down on the counter and go, "I want my free cup of coffee, kid." And you'd be like, "Yes, sir." And you'd pour him his free cup of coffee. So that's the reason we have some of those laying around, which is, I think, is pretty cool. Same with this little Big Boy Bank. Now, some of you may not know about Frisch's Big Boy, but it's a restaurant in our general area. Been around, I think it started in Cincinnati, Ohio. I don't even know. In the 50s or 60s, you can Google it, and I'm sure it'll tell you. But somebody got me this little Frisch's Big Boy Bank. So we keep it down here. It's generally on that shelf over there with these oil cans and these old coffee cups, which is pretty cool. And then this is something that I had bought back a few years ago, and this is an old parking meter. And I found out the other day that some towns actually still use these. They don't use them around here anymore. They don't even charge for parking. This is up to a 2-hour meter, so you could buy time for up to 2 hours. And the price for the parking was 1 cent, 5 cents, and 10 cents. I'm assuming 10 cents was probably the 2 hour, maybe an hour, maybe a half an hour. I'm not sure. But if you didn't pay, then you had a meter maid that would walk around and write you a ticket for $5 or something, and I guess you should have put your quarter in there. But anyway, just a little bit of stuff that we had drug down here. I'll kind of walk you around the shop real quick, see if there's anything else that I didn't bring out. Like, you know, I got this little Amazon street light, and I'm not sure why it's not on. Maybe it came unplugged. But then I've actually got the real one over here that my mother got me a few years ago. I believe it was for Christmas or something. God, that lighting's terrible right there. But here's an actual street light that they hardwired to 110, and all three lights stay on all the time. But this thing is massive and it's extremely heavy. But, you know, I just think it's cool down here, so we leave it there. A lot of that memorabilia. And then if, you know, someone like me, I don't know about everybody, but, you know, I got an old set of valve covers that I clear coated and cleaned up and hung on the wall. And then there's just some other oddball stuff, like an old Mopar 364 bell air cleaner that I keep hung on the wall. I just think it's cool. And then you get into the real expensive items, like real cars. You know, this, believe it or not, as dirty as it is, it's a shame. But this one is actually my baby, 78 Dodge Aspen RT, T-top 4-speed, beautiful super pack car. And then I have all our project cars over here. If you're new to the channel, you can go back and watch on some of those. And then I have my boy, Homer, which he's getting ready to get a new body. We're about to start on that. But you seen in the last video, we've been doing some work on the shop. But anyway, yeah, like here's some old signage here. Now this is where you're starting to get into some money. You know, you got these big signs and that big massive Monroe sign there. You know, if you're really a collector and you want to spend, you know, hundreds if not thousands of dollars on, you know, real big signs for your shop wall, you can do that even. But cool. But anyway, I just wanted to jump in and kind of go over this real quick. It's been in my comment section a ton regarding, you know, why we have all this on the wall. Do we collect it for finance or for investments? And my answer to that is no. I collect them because I enjoy it. I think it's cool. You know, some people may call that as a hoarder, but, you know, I don't have a bunch just lying around. If I don't have room on the wall for it, I generally don't buy it unless it's something just super cool. But anyway, that's just a look, you know, a little bit of a look underneath the hat, if you will, on why I have some of this stuff. But anyway, I'm going to get back to work on Homer. I'm filming an episode for you right now, actually on top of this episode. So anyway, I appreciate you watching. Leave something in the comment if you got something cool, maybe a photo of your shop, what have you. You can go over to the Busted Radio Garage Facebook page, put you in a picture there. Anyway, like, comment, share, and follow. I appreciate you watching. We'll catch you next time. BRG out.